are aware that there are a lot of drugs all over the world, but not all of us are familiar about hallucinogenic toad and how it affects and damages the bodies and brain of every individual will take this. This drug comes from a rare species of toad native to the Sonoran Desert, Bufo alvarius, which produces a venom known as 5-MeO-DMT, an extremely potent natural psychedelic according to Addiction Center. It has also been stated by the Addiction Center that DMT is about 4 to 6 times more powerful than its better-known cousin DMT or dimethyltryptamine. The narcotic has long been ingested by licking the poisonous amphibian's back but is now more commonly consumed as a smokable dust form. The liquid is extracted by milking the toad's toxic venom glands and then dehydrating it into a crumbly dry paste. Shamans throughout Mexico and the southwestern US have been harvesting and smoking the substance for decades, and now thousands of people throughout the country are seeking out the powerful psychedelic. In regards to hallucinogenic toad, there are a lot of subtopics that must be discussed. First, what is the hallucinogenic toad? Second, how does it cure? How does it correlate to psychological aspect, negative and positive effect? What are the 5-MeO-DMT? Is it possible treatment for any mental illness like depression and anxiety? And lastly, there are any real-life incidents that has an involvement of this topic?
Hallucinogens are a type of drug that changes a person's perception of reality, and it is also known as psychedelic drugs. It can distort a person's interpretation of what's going on around them. It can also make them see, feel, or hear things that aren't real. The toad venom that was used in the video is from the Colorado River toad, also known as the Sonoran Desert toad. Each toad has venom glands or parotoid glands that excrete toxins containing 5-MeO-DMT, an extremely potent natural psychedelic or hallucinogen. Parotoid gland is an external skin gland on the back, neck, and shoulder of toads and some frogs. The liquid that contains venom is extracted from the parotoid glands that is used and dried into a paste. This paste is then smoked and users experience a trip that starts within 10 to 30 seconds. The toad eats many insects and will also eat lizards, small mammals, and amphibians. It uses toxic secretion to ward off predators like raccoons and birds, and these toxic secretions are what makes the toad valuable to humans who are looking to get high.
The drug has long been eaten by licking the venomous amphibian's back, but it is now available in a smokable dust form. To remove the fluids, the toad's poisonous venom glands are milked and then dehydrated into a crumbly dry paste. Toads called genus Bufos create a toxin called bufotoxin that is similar to cardiac glycosides like digoxin in their parotid gland. Dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, serotonin, bufotenin, bufogenins, bufotoxin, and endoalkylamines are among the physiological active chemicals generated by bufotoads. Bufotenin or 5-hydroxytryptamine has been definitely identified as a pressor, but there is also evidence that it may be a hallucinogen or have a psychedelic effect. The hallucinogen effect of bufotenin may be secondary to the known systematic pressor activity and oxygen deprivation of the optic.
According to researchers, the drug often leaves users immobile and unresponsive and can cause intense emotional reactions, euphoria, convulsions, and vomiting. The drug's hallucinogenic effects take hold in about 5 minutes after ingestion, causing a powerful religious-like trip that lasts about an hour. The narcotic has long been ingested by licking the poisonous amphibian's back, but is now more commonly consumed as a smokable dust form. The liquid is extracted by milking the toad's toxic venom glands and then dehydrating it into a crumbly dry paste. In addition to the possible harmful effects users can experience while tripping, many people to suffer from extreme nausea and confusion for days after. Some have reportedly experienced a distortion of their perception of time, vision, and sound. The experience leaves users with a mood-altering perspective on their lives, the experience which is over in less than an hour.
Studies have proven that the usage of this toxin produces promising results. It was found that taking the toxin through the process of smoking can be therapeutic for people who have mental health illnesses. After the process, some users are left with an altered mood and perception, with some users even making major life changes. Although the results are beneficial and promising, this process has its risks. While under the influence of the toxin, the user will be unable to move and becomes unaware of the surroundings. Taking this can bring the risk of being taken advantage of. They can white out, and some users can experience anxiety for days after the session. It affects the brain by disrupting the communication between the brain and the spinal cord. This impacts their sensory perception and causes them to feel things that are not actually there. It can also cause panic, sleep problems, paranoia, and psychosis when used excessively.
What is 5-MeO-DMT? Bufo alvarius, the Colorado River toad, produces 5-MeO-DMT, which is a natural psychedelic substance found in the venom of the toad. Smoking 5-MeO-DMT induces a brief but intense psychedelic experience or trip, with hallucinogenic effects that are significantly stronger than those induced by DMT, which is the primary psychoactive molecule found in ayahuasca. Using a single 50 mg vaporized dose generated from dried venom secreted by the Bufo alvarius toad, many people report having psychedelic, limitless experiences after 1 second of inhaling the substance. Because it has a similar molecular structure to serotonin, it can bind to serotonin receptors in the brain and serve as an agonist, stimulating them. In addition to causing hallucinations, serotonin receptor stimulation can influence mood and body temperature. Users frequently describe having trouble recalling their overpowering experiences. The mystical union, non-duality, or other transpersonal encounters are common claims.
Hallucinogenic toad. Is it possible treatment to depression, anxiety, and mental illnesses? Once the venom wears off, users say that they experience an afterglow that can trigger them to make major positive life changes. 5-MeO-DMT appears to have a placebo analgesic effect comparable to hypnosis. The drug has shown to help break attachments to past trauma, negative behaviors, and habitual negative thought patterns. Such beneficial psychological effects has led to some researchers to believe that in a controlled setting with the well-trained professionals, the venom could be useful in treating anxiety and depression. In fact, preliminary studies performed by Johns Hopkins University suggest that it may combat depression and anxiety just as effectively as psilocybin, in addition to requiring a much shorter duration of time to reap the therapeutic benefits. Alan K. Davis, clinical psychologist, believed that 5-MeO-DMT found in toad venom is effective at treating these mental illnesses due to a combination of neurological changes in users' brain and insight they gain through the psychedelic experience.
Although some of us might be unfamiliar with the hallucinogenic toad or what other people call a psychedelic toad venom, it does not mean that it is not being used by many people. In fact, according to the New York Times, they have reported the news of high demand when it comes to the production of toad venom. The demand scale is too high that there's already a tendency that this species' survival will soon falter, since the Sonoran toad desert is believed to be the only amphibian that produces the hallucinogenic MEO-DMT venom. There was also news from before wherein a famous boxer, Mike Tyson, became a victim of irresponsible and too much usage of this venom that led him to experience a near-death situation. In his statement, he claimed that he died while on a mind-melting trip after smoking toad venom. Bufo is what the venom is called, which people smoke in order for them to experience bliss. According to an article wrote by Alex Kaczynski, people have come to grow fascination to this is because most people experience a feeling of oceanic boundlessness, of oneness with the universe. They describe it as a high level of ego dissolution.
In conclusion, toad is a psychedelic substance that comes from a toad found in Mexico and the United States. It's a semi-aquatic amphibious that dwells in a semi-aquatic habitat. It generates noxious fluids to keep predators away. Venom glands in each toad releases toxins including 5-MeO-DMT, a hallucinogenic chemical. According to Johns Hopkins University, the users will be physically disabled for around 30 minutes and time, vision, and hearing may be distorted after an hour of smoking it, leaving users with altered feelings and perceptions. Because it is an illegal substance, it can be difficult to research. This issue is owing to a lack of funds, but some scientists say it has the potential to benefit patients suffering from depression and anxiety. Taking any drug, whether it's made naturally or in the lab, has the risk of side effects. This medication may work by interfering with connections between the brain's chemical processes and the spinal cord. Some hallucinogenics, such as LSD and PCP, have been shown to be addictive, with regular users developing a tolerance to the drug and needing more to have the same effect. And they have bad sensations when they are not using it. This might result in an abnormal craving for drugs, which can be classified as an addiction.